How could you bring such abomination into this house? You are a disgrace to this family and everything I stand for.
Pastor Sam's voice echoed louder than the whispers in the church hall. The young woman stood frozen in the middle of the living room, her hand trembling over her stomach as tears blurred her vision. Her father stared at her like she was a stranger. The secret had come out. The pastor's daughter was pregnant.
Before we continue with the story, please support us by liking this video and subscribing to this channel. Your support means a lot to us.
3 months earlier, if anyone had mentioned scandal in the Churchill family, the church would have laughed because Naomi Churchill was the example every Christian parent pointed to. She was only 19, but she was everywhere in church. Sunday school teacher, choir member, youth fellowship coordinator. People used to say, pastor's daughter, that one will definitely marry a pastor. But nobody knew the quiet battle growing inside her heart. Naomi was tired of always being perfect, tired of carrying the invisible weight of being the pastor's daughter. No mistakes, no questions, no weakness. And that was when Daniel came into her life. Daniel was the church's new worship leader. He was tall, gentle, soft-spoken. When he sang during worship, people cried. They said heaven touched the room. But what nobody noticed was the way his eyes lingered on Naomi. At first, it seemed harmless. Late-night rehearsals, long conversations after choir practice, praying together, sharing struggles. Daniel understood her in a way nobody else did. One evening after rehearsal, heavy rain poured outside the church building. Naomi and Daniel were the only ones left in the hall. Naomi was crying. "I'm tired, Daniel," she whispered. "I feel like if I make one mistake, the whole church will collapse." Daniel gently wiped her tears. "You are human, Naomi, not an angel." That night, comfort slowly turned into closeness, and closeness turned into temptation. At first, Naomi convinced herself it would never go too far. Daniel kept promising he loved her. He promised marriage. He promised to speak to her father soon. But weeks turned into months. Then, one morning, staring at 2 red lines on a pregnancy test, Naomi felt the world spin. Her heart pounded, her hands shaking, her eyes filled with hot tears. Everywhere suddenly became blurry. "No, this can't be happening." She called Daniel immediately. "Daniel, we need to see immediately. It's urgent." She ran to Daniel's house. "Daniel, I'm pregnant." There was silence. Then his voice changed. "Naomi, but I thought I was careful. It was just few seconds. I'm not ready to father a child. You have to get rid of it." Naomi felt something cold crawl up her spine. "Daniel, what do you mean I have to get rid of it? You said you loved me and wanted to marry me. You must take responsibility for your actions. I'm from a deeply religious family. Abortion is a taboo." Daniel said, "Then make your choice." 2 days later, Daniel stopped answering her calls. By the next Sunday, he had quietly stopped coming to church. Naomi hid the pregnancy for weeks, loose dresses, avoiding everyone. But secrets in church never stay hidden for long. One afternoon, her mother noticed. "Naomi, why are you vomiting again?" And that was when the truth came out. "Mom, I'm pregnant." Her mother cried. But when Pastor Churchill found out, at first he said nothing. He simply stared at her with deep disappointment. "Sorry? Do you know what people will say? The pastor's daughter got pregnant out of wedlock." Naomi fell to her knees. I made a mistake. But Pastor Sam's pride was louder than compassion. Leave this house, he said coldly. Get out of my house, he said, his voice shaking with anger and humiliation. You are no longer my daughter. Her father disowned her. Naomi ran away from the house. She moved into a small apartment on the outskirts of town. Life became difficult. Money was tight. She did house cleaning jobs and sold water on the streets just to survive. Her mother visited occasionally with food and pocket money. Her tummy started growing bigger. Church members who once praised her now whispered behind her back.
But something unexpected happened during that painful season. Naomi began talking to God again, not as the perfect pastor's daughter, but as a broken girl. Some nights she cried and prayed, God, can you still use someone like me? Months later, she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Holding the child for the first time, she whispered, your life will not be a mistake. Her mother said, forget about Daniel. You and your baby will be fine. Years passed. Naomi slowly rebuilt her life. She began sharing her story with young women in small church gatherings. At first, people judged her, but something surprising happened. Girls began opening up, confessing hidden struggles, finding healing. Naomi realized something powerful. Her failure had given her a voice she never had before.
Then came the moment no one expected. One evening, after a youth seminar where she shared her story, a man approached her. My name is Michael, he said gently. I heard your story. Naomi prepared herself for judgment. But instead, Michael smiled. You remind me of the woman in John chapter 8. Naomi looked confused. But Jesus said something powerful. Neither do I condemn you. Tears filled her eyes. I don't see your past, he said softly. I see your courage. Friendship slowly turned into love, and one day Michael asked her to marry him. Naomi hesitated. Do you really want to marry someone with my story? Michael smiled. Your story is the reason I respect you. The wedding day came. Naomi wore a simple white dress. Her heart was full, but one seat remained empty, her father's. But just before the ceremony began, the church doors slowly opened. Naomi turned, and there he was, Pastor Samuel Churchill. Older, quieter, tears streaming down his face. That day, Pastor Sam did something nobody expected. He walked slowly toward the altar. I came to ask my daughter for forgiveness. The entire church fell silent. I was more concerned about my reputation than my child, he said, his voice breaking. I forgot that even pastors need grace and that my daughter needed love more than judgment. I preached about grace for years, but when my own child needed it, I chose pride instead. Naomi, can you forgive me? Naomi didn't answer with words. She ran into his arms. After the wedding ceremony ended, Pastor Samuel walked slowly toward Michael. He placed his hand on the young man's shoulder. Thank you for seeing my daughter the way God sees her. Michael smiled gently. She was never broken beyond repair, sir. Naomi continued sharing her story. I'm not standing here because I was perfect. I'm standing here because God restores. Naomi's story reminds us that no mistake is bigger than God's mercy. Failure does not disqualify you from purpose, and shame does not mean your story is finished. Because when God steps into your mess, He doesn't just clean it up. He turns it into a message that can heal others.
If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and click on the bell icon to subscribe to this channel